Welcome to the Health by Haven podcast. I'm your host, Haven Quinlan. If you're a multi-passionate wellness enthusiast, then you're in the right place. I'm obsessed with learning as much as I can about the wellness world, and I want to share that with you. Each episode will dive into various aspects of health and wellness through inspiring and informative guest interviews with some solo episodes thrown in. Tune in for all things health, and let's have some fun, shall we? Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Health by Haven podcast. Today's conversation is with board-certified health and wellness coach, Meg Crockett. I met Meg during one of my very first weekends here in New York City on a wellness walk and immediately felt so aligned with her and her holistic health approach. I just knew I had to have her on the podcast. In today's episode, Meg shares a bit about her health journey with endometriosis and battling infections that put her in the ER and in extended hospital stays. She talks about how her health journey changed the trajectory of her life and career, and how she now works with clients to heal their chronic conditions. There are so many good nuggets in this episode on topics like detoxing from mold toxins and heavy metals, hormone health, emotions and the mind-body connection, air and water filtration, binders and how they can be a tool to remove toxins from the body, clean home and beauty products, and even her favorite workouts in the city. I know you guys are going to learn so much from this episode, so without further ado, let's dive into today's conversation with Meg Crockett. Meg, thank you so much for joining us on the Health by Haven podcast today. When I was thinking back to okay, how did I even know about this wellness walk that we met on? I was like, how did I start following her account? This is so random. And then I realized afterwards, I had heard you on the Wellness Process podcast, and I believe that's how I started following along. And so for people who maybe haven't listened to that podcast or who don't know you in person, can you give us a little bit of an intro into you? And I know from listening to that, you kind of have an origin story of how you got into the wellness world. So let's kick it off with that.
Sure. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me. It was so fun to get to meet you in person a couple weeks ago now. I started in wellness, yes, unintentionally. I came into this world just through my own healing journey, which really started, wow, I can't believe it's been almost 10 years, but 2017, basically. And yeah, a very long and sort of dramatic story short. Essentially, a series of different infections that kept winding me up in the hospital. I would go into the ER and end up on IV antibiotics in the hospital for, the longest stay once was 2 weeks. Some of them were quite a bit shorter. Yeah. So and there was kind of an initial trigger event that sort of started all of it, but I just really knew I needed to do a lot of deeper healing, and I didn't really know how to do that. And I felt like the answers that I needed were not available in the allopathic system. There was plenty of good care for crisis situations and things like that, but I needed something different. So I ended up just enrolling at Institute for Integrative Nutrition to do my first 1-year health coaching certification. And I really just did it to teach myself initially. I had no plans at all of actually becoming a health coach. It was not even a thought in my brain. I literally just wanted to learn and heal myself. But as I got into studying this field more, I began to realize that I've always had a big interest in this. And a lot of it actually is more kind of around the psychological side of it, you could say. And kind of I used to work, and I still do, in marketing. And I think the connection point between all of it for me is behavioral psychology, right?
Oh, cool.
Lifestyle has so much to do with our health and why we make the choices we make. And that's kind of the thread with marketing as well. So yeah, that's kind of how it got started, and then I've done a bunch of different trainings and stuff since that initial one.
Yeah. Well, and I know it's like a very complex story and a lot to like get started with for sure. But I find that a lot of people in the health space and particularly like the holistic health space kind of like have a reason we're all here, right? And it's normally like, okay, I had some sort of chronic condition and I didn't know what was going on in my body. And I went to a million like traditional Western medicine doctors and nobody could figure it out. And like I had to kind of figure it out for myself to be able to heal. And once you go through that, you're like, wow, I would not wish this upon anyone. Like, let me get into this space to help other people. So thank you for like giving us a little bit of a background to that.
Yeah.
Did you grow up like was your family into like holistic medicine? Was this like a totally brand new thing for you when you ended up having all those visits to the ER?
That's a good question. My family was pretty conventional overall, but my mom definitely has a more holistic lens on things. She's actually a somatic experiencing practitioner
Oh,
and
cool.
psychotherapist. And so I definitely grew up being exposed to a lot of the kind of like mind body connection and how nervous system holds on to trauma and all that kind of stuff. So I definitely had that foundation from my mom. She used to and still like would take me to the farmers market every Saturday, and she was baking her own organic bread like long before people were doing things like that, and definitely taught me a lot about nutrition. And again, I do think she kind of gave me like a good lifestyle framework in that sense. Both of my parents are pretty active, and we didn't really eat like the standard American diet, so to speak. Yeah, there was definitely a bit of a foundation there, but even now, some of the like modalities or things that I do, they're kind of like they don't necessarily get it, but I would say that they've been overall pretty supportive just because they have seen how much I've healed. And now they come to me with the various things that are going on. Yeah, there was definitely a groundwork, but I did not grow up like going to any type of holistic practitioner or anything like that. Did you?
No, I didn't. But like, I'm so fascinated by people who are because I'm like, wow, like you're so lucky that you like even knew this whole other side of like this world of health existed, you know?
Yeah, yeah, no, we did not do that at all. I'm trying to think if I no, I mean I went to a chiropractor in high
Yeah.
school because I played sports and ran and had some stuff going on, but that was probably the closest to a more holistic world that I got until I got really sick and then discovered this whole integrative and functional field.
Yeah. So going off of that, when you were really sick and you were trying to figure out like, okay, what is at the bottom of this? How can I, feel better? And you started IIN and all of that. Like what were some of the things that really started to flip the script for you into getting healthier?
Yeah. Well, for the listeners, sort of, I guess an important part of the big backstory is that, and again, I'll try to make a long story short, but triggering event for everything was at the time, so this is 2017, 8 years ago, I had some endometriosis that was showing up on like
Mm.
scans. I didn't actually have that many symptoms of it. I had a little bit. So I did an egg freezing just to like freeze my eggs, and I got an infection from the egg freezing
Oh,
procedure, and that's what kicked off the whole thing. It was very serious. As I was working on healing, in the women's health world, certainly at the time, I think it's a little bit better now, but it still has a long ways to go. There was very much this, oh, the only thing you can do is, go on birth control or
mm.
surgery, all of that. I did have to do an endometriosis surgery just because of the infection. There was no other way to remove the infection, but
Mm,
I probably wouldn't have done that had that not been the case. What I learned is that there are a lot of things you can do to heal that condition. And I think anything really kind of in the women's health, PCOS or all of that, even a lot of women who are having issues getting pregnant. And then
mm.
after various nutritional and like detoxification and parasite cleansing and lots of different stuff, they are able to have healthy pregnancies. And, I just realized like the Western system can only get you so far. It has great benefits in certain areas. And then there's a whole other world that is just not part of their training. I mean,
Yeah.
doctors don't have any like nutrition training in medical school, right? So that's really what kind of opened my eyes, realizing that there's a whole other world and lots of different modalities, whether that's, yeah, learning about toxicity and working on detoxes, working on gut health, certainly nutrition, dialing in on like what type of food works best for me. Like I found out I'm very gluten intolerant. I don't have celiac, but it just creates kind of like a storm in my immune system. So I just don't go anywhere near it, things like that. And the more I learned, the more I was able to really heal myself and just feel so much optimism and hope that is not how I felt from the messaging I was getting from the Western system.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, like the two can work in tandem, but sometimes it's challenging when the Western system is very, like, it feels like very siloed, you know? You have
Yes.
specialists for everything. And it's hard because everything in your body is so connected. It's like, well, you can't just change one thing really and like fix everything. It all works together. So I love that sentiment. If you're looking for a deeper level of care for yourself or your family, let me introduce you to Avoda Massage Therapy, a family-centered wellness center that believes in the healing power of intentional touch. Rooted in the meaning of avoda, purposeful work or service, this practice goes beyond relaxation. They offer specialized therapeutic massage for every stage of life, from infants to adults, recognizing that true wellness starts within the family. Whether it's infant bodywork, pregnancy and postpartum massage, craniosacral fascial therapy, or even red light LED therapy, each session is designed with empathy, expertise, and your unique journey in mind. At Avoda Massage Therapy, touch isn't just physical, it's transformative. It's about calming the nervous system, restoring balance, and fostering deep emotional connection. Ready to experience purposeful healing for the whole family? Learn more at avodamassagetherapy.com. That's AVODAH massagetherapy.com. Now, back to the show. Are most of your clients coming to you like for women's health issues, like you had said you had endometriosis, or is it other things as well?
I work with a range, I would say. Definitely some women who are, yeah, dealing with endo or sort of hormonal imbalances or
Mm,
issues that can also go into the realm of, right, like trying to conceive. I certainly wouldn't
yeah.
be like a fertility expert, but just, I guess, preparation for conception, that type of thing. I do work with people of all ages and genders. It is probably majority women, but I do work with a good amount of men as well. It's usually people who have had some set of, I guess I would say, like abstract and chronic symptoms for a long time. So that could be gut health, it can be allergies, it can be nausea that comes and goes, lots of different things. In 2021, I got board certified as a health and wellness
Mm,
coach. As part of that process, or as part of getting board certified, it gave me, as a health coach, I guess I could say, like additional access to testing partners and things like that. So I'm able to run some functional testing, like
Mm.
microbiome tests and gluten sensitivity, toxicity. That's a big one, like mycotoxins, heavy metals, all of
Mm-hmm.
that, to really help people get to the root cause of what's going on. And of course, I think there's only, so much a practitioner can do, because a lot of it is also emotional, psycho-spiritual healing. So
Yeah.
I don't call myself a healer, because I think that the individual is their own healer. At the end of the day, you
Yeah.
have guides that you choose, and I might be your functional health and wellness guide, and somebody else might be your therapist, might be your
Yeah.
emotional healing guide, or your life coach, or whatever that is. But I do tend to see a lot of sort of like generalized toxicity, just because we're in an environment where there's a lot going on and our bodies aren't always keeping up with it. So I definitely specialize in those types of cases, and also chronic infections like Lyme and related co-infections.
Mm.
That was also part of my own journey, so I can just kind of like recognize it quickly with people. I think this is true of a lot of practitioners. I tend to just have some early instincts, and then we'll run testing basically to confirm it. But
Mm-hmm.
once you've been in this space for a while, you start to recognize the patterns of like, okay, I think this is probably what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
But I always love to test and make sure. And
Yeah. Yeah. So let's dig into that a little bit more, because toxicity is not really a topic that we've come up on the podcast yet, but it's something that I've been trying to educate myself more on lately. And, especially living in the city, we're exposed to so many environmental toxins. And so when somebody comes to you and you're like, maybe they're dealing with, some toxic stuff going on in their system, like what are some of the things that you're looking for? And then like talk to us a little bit more about the tests that are run, like what you're looking for in those as well.
sure, yeah. So whether you're in a big city, or, you could even be more in a rural area in the United States and still be getting a lot of exposure to toxicity. So, specifically things like heavy metals, pesticides, herbicides, lots of different chemicals. When we talk about indoor stuff, it's more like mycotoxins, which are the toxins that molds release. And about
Mm.
50% of people have certain genetics that make them very sensitive to that. And then, yeah, all the chemicals just from think like, personal care, body care, all that kind of stuff. So, it's funny because I knew a little bit about some of this growing up. It just so happens that my dad actually worked in kind of a field of laws around nuclear waste and
Oh.
protecting people from the toxicity and radiation and stuff like that. So I kind of had a little bit of this already embedded in my brain, probably. So what's happening is a lot of us, especially when it comes to like let's take hormonal issues, because that's a place where we see toxicity come up a lot. We just, throughout our lifetime, we can essentially like think of the body as like a bucket. It just sort of starts to accumulate. And that could be like emotional trauma. It could be some heavy metals, some chemicals, whatever. And it'll slow down your drainage pathways. So like if you don't sweat easily, that's usually a sign that your
Mm.
drainage pathways are actually a little bit blocked up. Sweating is good, sweating is healthy. Or if you're like constipated a lot or something like that, that's in my lens more of like a drainage problem, right? Like your
Mm.
body, there's some reason that it's not like digesting and emptying. There are lots of great tests. The one that I personally love, I work mostly with a lab partner called Vibrant Wellness. They're a functional precision lab. So these are the types of labs that you can't get at your Western doctor. They're just a different set of things. The toxin testing is an at-home urine test. You
Mm.
can pick certain categories. So maybe somebody knows, like maybe they were living in a moldy house and they started having symptoms and they know there was mold, so they know they want to look at mycotoxins, and we can just run mycotoxins. Or there's a great test called the total tox, which looks at all those different categories. And
Mm.
honestly, it's really fascinating. I mean, I once had this client who, she's in her 20s, lives in Chicago. This was like a year ago. And she did something kind of in like the corporate space, but she was sort of involved in like manufacturing. Um, and she would travel around the country and go to a lot of different places. When I ran her total tox, she had DDT in high levels. DDT has been outlawed in the United States since the 70s. She wasn't even alive.
Oh my gosh.
So it's just wild, the stuff that will come up. Like, where did she pick that up? I don't know. I mean, it's not supposed to be, I don't think, used in any countries, if I'm not mistaken, but I think some
Wow.
countries like still kind of use it. Or, in the United States, we have a big glyphosate problem, which is very detrimental to health. And anyway, it's a really interesting test to run because you get a lot of information. It even checks BPA, plastic, lots of different like plasticizers and stuff. And it allows me to come up with a personalized detoxification protocol because there's different types of binders and things like that that can help grab onto and pull out different types of
Mm.
toxins from the body. And it's kind of a process, but this is a lot of what's driving chronic illness in the United States. It's just you go to a regular doctor, they're not gonna do this testing unless it's like a, I don't know, extreme case of some sort.
Yeah. Say someone's listening and they're like, yeah, I've started like feeling crummy and I'm wondering if like there's things I can do to like clean up my environment or, clean up what I'm eating, lifestyle, diet, all of that is affected. And so generally, do you have like best practices for people? Are there products that you really like, whether it's, home care or personal care that you could recommend to people listening?
Yeah, I love that question. So some good places to start thinking about your personal care products. So anything that you're putting onto your skin, your moisturizers, your lotions, if you're wearing makeup, that type of thing. Obviously, clean beauty is pretty big these days, but it really does make a difference. I mean, I see the chemicals and phthalates and things that are in personal care come up on this testing all the time. So it really is a real
Hmm.
thing. You do want to be thinking about that. You want to be using laundry detergent that is non-toxic, right? And it's fairly easy to find brands these days. I always tell people if you're not sure where to start, honestly, go to Thrive Market online. I do have a
Mm.
40% off code if anybody wants it, but
Oh, good.
seriously, I've been a member of Thrive Market since 2018, and it's made my life so much easier because you can just go on their site and search not only organic, but they even have glyphosate-free certified brands. You can
Mm.
filter by that. So versus like, I mean, I'm a weirdo and I love going grocery shopping. I could spend hours at Whole Foods, but you have to like go out and look for everything. That's kind of
Yeah.
nice. We're just getting started to use a site like Thrive Market where you can just filter and just get exactly what you're looking for. But
Hmm.
um, yeah, let's see. And also cleaning products of any type. Branch Basics for all
Yeah.
of the cleaning. Do you use them too?
Yeah, I love them.
They're amazing. I mean, get their starter kit. It's literally everything, and it works really well. It will cover laundry, like hand soap. They even make, I'm pretty sure they're making dishwasher pods
Yeah.
now. I haven't tried those yet, but I'm sure they're great.
Yeah.
Also, like if you have kids at home, this is something you want to do, too. Make sure like you're not using, we don't need bleach anymore. It's not good for the
Hmm.
environment and it's not good for you, right? If it's not good for the environment, it's not good for you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great rule of thumb.
If it's killing insects, it's probably not good for you either. Like,
Yeah.
like glyphosate, for example. So, um, yeah, that's a good place to start. Also, air filtration. Earlier this year, with like the fires in LA and stuff, more people learned about the fact that like the air quality index isn't comprehensive. There's
Mm,
things that it's not always picking up. So, overall, New York City actually has like a relatively good air quality, like for such a large city. There are many American and international cities that are generally worse on average, but because we're like an island, we have good airflow. But
hmm.
anyway, we have so much in our air. So definitely getting a good air filter. And again, like, even if you live in a remote place, you're going to want to do this too. Like our family has a cabin in the mountains, and they have to spray fire retardant on the trees out there and stuff. So like
Yeah.
wherever you live, you're gonna want to be filtering your air. I love Air Oasis. Personally, that's what I use, and we have those in our cabin. And I've heard great things about windmill air.
That's what I have.
Yeah, that one looks really cool. I want to get one just for
Hmm.
aesthetic
I know.
purposes.
I'm like, I don't know if you can see mine. It's like behind the
Oh,
shelf in
yeah,
the
I
corner.
don't even know what it is. Like yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a nice one. And then I would be thinking also about those everyday choices. You have never thought about detoxifying your home and your products and stuff. Don't feel like you have to do it overnight. I would just, as you start replacing stuff, just pick something different next
Hmm.
time. If you need recommendations, you can DM me or go to my links. I've got tons of stuff there, but also, a couple other things that I think are important are even get organic bedding because
Mm.
spend a third of our life in bed. And
Yeah.
so you want to get either organic bedding or Okiotech certified. It's kind of the same thing. It basically says that they used only like non-toxic materials. So
Mm.
bedding, towels, personal care, and then of course, air, water. Definitely want to be filtering your water.
Yeah.
So a lot of these things they almost seem every day that it almost seems like it doesn't matter, but trust me, as someone that's seen thousands of toxin test results, they do matter.
Mm.
Like don't be drinking out of a plastic cup at home, like make sure you're using glass. Like I've
Yeah.
seen high BPA scores from people who are like, but I never use plastic water bottles. And then they're like, oh wait, I have that one plastic cup at home. Like that
Yeah.
from like a tennis tournament that like I always drink out of. And I'm like, there you go. That's
Yep.
where, so just paying attention to your environment and doing some of these things. Don't drink tap water. That's like a bit of a controversial one, but don't drink it. Definitely filter it. I use clearly filtered. There's lots of great brands, but that's the one I use, and it's not expensive. Water is like fundamental. You definitely want to be drinking clean water.
Yeah, for sure. Because you're hydrating all day, every day. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, like, for a while when I started getting into the wellness world, like, I stuck my head in the sand a little bit about
Yeah.
some of this stuff because it can
Mhm.
feel so overwhelming. And, sometimes like at face value, some of these like cleaner cleaning products or skincare products or things seem like a lot more expensive. And you're like, oh, do I really need to do that? Because you can't visibly see a difference. And I think that's what gets people. But hearing from you and like, yeah, all this stuff is showing up on all these like panels that I'm running, all these tests that I'm running with clients, like, we want to avoid that.
Yeah. And I also, of course, there were times when I was deep in my healing where my immune system and everything was still very sensitive. I had some chronic Lyme at one point. It appears to be essentially gone, so I don't take anything or do anything for that now. But there were times when I did really have to be kind of very as close to 100% as possible. I'm not in that place anymore, which is great. Now I'm like 80/20. I can
Mm,
kind of get away with a few things and it doesn't really do that much. I still color my hair. Like
yeah.
that's the one I do is not non-toxic. You can drive yourself nuts and definitely get stressed out and overwhelmed trying to make everything non-toxic. So I'm very much in that like 80/20 camp. I think the 20% should be things that bring you joy in some way and aren't like don't have obvious negative consequences, you know? So I'm someone who, yes, I still color my hair, but I've never had a gel like nails because that's just not my thing. Like it doesn't really matter to me. I get like a naked manicure, whatever, or
Yeah.
dazzle dry. I've just never done the gel because I feel like that's just not my thing. And I'd rather have my 20% toxic exposures like in other stuff.
Yeah, yeah. That's a great way to look at it. Is like prioritized for you. And like don't be
Exactly.
wasting your 20% on like
On something that
floor
yeah.
cleaner or something.
That's exactly right. Use it for something that has like an impact in your life. Maybe, again, like for some people, that's going to be a little Botox or like whatever that is that brings you a little bit of joy, makes you feel really good about yourself. It doesn't have to be a beauty thing. That just happens to be where some of mine is.
Yeah.
It's all clean shampoo and, all of that and makeup. The other thing I would mention is certainly eat organic as much as you can, but
Mm.
uh, I love to go out to dinner as much as the next person, and we don't always know in those situations, but that's what honestly like binders are for. Like,
Yeah, can we get into that a little bit more for people who don't know what that is?
yeah, yeah, for sure. So you've probably all heard of charcoal, for example. Charcoal is a
Hmm.
binder. If were to overdose on alcohol and go to an ER, they would put charcoal in your stomach, right, to absorb the alcohol. Charcoal also comes in a capsule and can
Mm.
be used as a binder, but actually, I don't use that or take that. It is out there, but I prefer carbon-based binders, particularly there's a couple companies that make, I think, the best, and Cellcore is the one that I primarily use, although there's a couple other good ones too. Essentially, the carbon binders positive charge and they bind to anything with a negative charge, or I might have it flipped something like
Yeah.
that. I can send you the science if you want it. They help grab on to different toxins where they're sort of lodged in the body and pull them out. So there's different binders for heavy metals, pesticides, chemicals. They can kind of overlap a little bit, but yeah, what I'm talking about is really just something in a capsule form.
Mm.
And I like the Cellcore ones because you can take them with food and other supplements and they don't bind to nutrients or minerals, which something like charcoal does.
Mm.
So, yeah, I mean, I like to take a dose of binders every day. I just feel like it helps kind of keep my system clear, knowing what I know.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's one of those things I recommend people just kind of like keep in their rotation.
If you don't want to be taking one every day, how would you know, like, oh, like this is a good day that I should be taking it? Any like symptoms or anything?
Flying,
Mm.
there's metals, chemicals, those two in particular on airplanes.
Mm.
So I was flying a lot over the summer and I recently saw my practitioner and we did a little bit of testing, some heavy metals and some chemicals showing up that were sort of taxing my system, you could say.
Yeah.
Didn't have any, well, I had a little bit of symptoms, but not too bad because it wasn't like super high. But yeah, I mean, if you're on, 6-hour flights every other week, like you're getting exposed to a good amount of stuff and you might feel it. Like people get jet lag from time zone changes, but part of what I think everyone feels a little bit after long trips like that unless you're flying private, it might be a little bit cleaner, but those planes are lysoled and bleached to the max and all of that. And all of that stays in the air and then they're just circulating the air.
Yeah.
You're flying in a metal box and there's all of that. So that's just one, like, that's one example where it can be really helpful. Also, of course, I'm sure your listeners are all familiar or do like sauna and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, so there's also a lot of practices and things we can do to lower our toxic burden. Sauna
Okay.
great, sweating. I mean, honestly, movement and working out in general is really helpful for the lymphatic system. You can get a lymphatic massage or even a massage, but if you are doing gel nails and stuff like that, yeah, you might want to take a chemical binder like a couple days a week, I mean, I can't, everyone's levels would be a little different if you are concerned
Mm-hmm.
available, but think of it almost like, again, we talked about like the bucket. It's kind of like emptying the trash a little bit, like just
Yeah.
making things clear, as clear as you can. We don't always know what we're getting exposed to. Like I've
Yeah.
heard that there's metals in the like MTA subway like platform. Like, you know, I don't know, probably. So I just like to have something kind of in the rotation so that I feel like I'm covering bases that I'm not always aware of.
Of
Not
course. Yeah. And I love that you're like, control the controllables, like at home, do what
ex-
you can with your environment. But like also, I like the balance of like not letting it completely control your life. Like you're not avoiding the subway platform forever, right? You like want to go out and do
That's what
things.
I say. Exactly. Exactly. And like things are just not so black and white of like everyone should take this or everyone should take that. I mean, I do believe everyone should probably take some binders. That I can
Mm-hmm.
say like pretty much benefits everybody. Aside from that, it's so bio individual. Like what's good for one person might trigger somebody else but when it comes to toxicity, it's not great for anybody. That's kind of what I always come back to. Like that is the controllable. Do what you can at home. You will be surprised at what it can do for your health.
You guys, the Health by Haven Substack is number 84 rising in the health and wellness category worldwide. I am so honored and excited. Did you know that I write a weekly newsletter packed with wellness tips, life musings, motivation, and inspiration for you to live your happiest, healthiest life? It's true. I love bringing value to my subscribers to help them feel their absolute best. And today, you can subscribe for free by visiting healthbyhaven.substack.com or clicking the link in the show notes. And if you're truly ready to level up and feel vibrant and well every day, you can join the Health by Haven Insiders on Substack with a paid subscription, which gives you access to tons of wellness, nutrition, fitness, and travel guides I've created exclusively for the Health by Haven Insiders. The Substack community knows it, and now you do too. Visit healthbyhaven.substack.com today to join the insiders and take the next step towards the healthiest you. Yeah, I love that. Do you have any favorite like skincare or makeup that you could recommend that's cleaner?
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Love Bare Minerals. They've been in the clean beauty game since before it was cool, really.
Mm-hmm.
They're one of the originals. Their stuff is really good. I love them. Timeline is a great skincare brand. They also have a supplement that's for mitochondrial health,
Mm.
and their skincare is genuinely like I will notice a difference after using it for one day, honestly. It's very
Wow.
like nourishing for
Yeah.
the skin. That's a great skincare line. Elia, which people
Mm-hmm.
be familiar with. I use a lot of their stuff. Eden Minerals, which is a Swedish brand, but you can
Mm.
get them online in the US. I use their mascara, blush. They have a ton of great products. I think those are some of the big ones for me. What I would recommend to anyone is if you're curious about a brand or something that you have already, go to the environmental working group skin.
Hmm.
Probably talked about that on this podcast
I
before.
don't know if it's come up, maybe for food products, but yeah, I use them a lot for like cleaning products and stuff as well as I've been like swapping everything over.
Totally. And what's interesting too is you'll find that, particularly in the beauty space, um, there are some brands that are pretty much across the board very clean, but you'll also find that some brands have certain products that are, EWG, like we'll give them a perfect score, or like they're a green score. And then that same brand might have stuff that's like orange or red. And typically it's because of fragrance. And so like
Yeah.
maybe there's a product that you really like that has a little bit of fragrance and you're willing to, have a little bit of that. But I do think that database is really helpful. Sometimes I'll go in there if I'm looking for like a new, moisturizer or something, and I'll kind of see what's in the top, or shampoo. Sometimes I'll be at Whole Foods and I'm just curious, like which of these body washes is actually green on EW
Yeah.
all. Some of them are, some of them aren't. So yeah, that's super, super helpful. And they come out with guides all the time of like the top cleanest sunscreens and all of that. Unfortunately, these days, these things are so widely available. Like there's
Yeah.
clean stuff at Dwayne Reed.
Yeah.
Um, so, or in most of the country, I guess I would say like CVS.
Yeah. 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 Okay. So, what are we doing about clean perfumes or deodorants? Like, as a fitness instructor, I'm sweating. I'm trying not to like smell bad as I'm walking around adjusting clients, but it's a challenge with like cleaner products.
Yes, I love this question. I have found, and please somebody let me know if you are listening and you found something different. Like I have found a couple of clean deodorants that work really well, so I don't smell, but there is nothing that will stop you from sweating, because the main ingredient in most things that stops the sweating is aluminum, which we don't want to be putting on our lymphatic system like that under our armpits. So I honestly, the best one I've ever tried is, there's a brand, EO. Like
Mm.
it's literally, the packaging is like EO. They make deodorant, spray and wipes,
Oh, okay.
and they work really well. I use the spray. There's tons of different like scents. It's literally like $10 at Whole Foods, and I, to my knowledge, I don't smell. No one has ever said anything. And when I've tried other brands, I will like notice that they don't work as well. This one is purely just essential oils. What are you using right now?
So I have a couple of different ones in my cabinet right now that I keep rotating because I'm trying to find like the perfect one still. But I have Salt and Stone, and then oh
People love that.
gosh,
I actually haven't tried them.
I like it. The smell is really good, but I think my skin is sensitive to it. At least the one I have.
Interesting. Okay. I don't want to name names, but a friend of mine, we were traveling over the summer, and she was using a very luxury, high-end, non-toxic deodorant brand, not that one, a different one. And it gave her like a really bad rash, unfortunately, and
Yeah.
stopped using it, and it went away. But right, unfortunately, clean doesn't necessarily mean that you won't have, your skin still could be sensitive to something, whether it's a chemical or not. So
Yeah.
yeah, interesting. And the other one I really like is Curie.
Okay, I haven't heard of that one.
That one's really good too. They smell really good. They hold up pretty well. But honestly, I stick by the EO. Yeah,
Yeah.
it works.
Okay. For perfumes, have you found one that's non-toxic, or is it like, yeah, if you're going to use perfume, that's going to be in your 20%?
Okay, so good question. Fun fact about me is I used to, again, before I really got into the wellness space, I worked in luxury marketing. I worked with a lot of the Estee Lauder brands, Chanel,
Mm.
and had Tom Ford, like all the luxury fragrances and all of that, which was super fun. And I still love those brands, but I can't, yeah, like I don't even think I could wear some of that now. I think it would give me a headache, probably.
Yeah, you get like more sensitive to it, I feel like.
Yeah, because I think once you actually start to lower your toxic bucket, your body can actually, like, you notice when something is off a little bit
Yeah.
more because your body's like, whoa, like, I'm not used to this. Like, you don't want to be used to it, but
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, there is this great fragrance from, okay, so there's a brand called Sniff. Everybody should look them up. They have all clean fragrances and they make, I feel like this kind of sounds like it wouldn't be good, but it is really good. They make some, just because the term body mist kind of makes me think of like app
Like Bath
something.
and Body Works.
Exactly. Bath and Body Works. So think, you know, modern, clean body mists. They have a couple different ones that I've tried. Honestly, my favorite, it's called, everyone again is going to roll their eyes. It's called spray tan. It's not a spray tan. It's just that kind of warm coconut, pineapple, but it
Mm,
doesn't smell like sunscreen. It just kind of has this nice, like,
like
beachy,
fresh.
yeah, fresh, warm. It's not super floral if that's your thing. It's not really a floral one. I'm not super floral. That one is really nice. They have a bunch of different scents, but that's been my favorite. And I have tried a lot of different brands over the years, but that's the one that I'm using right now, and I love it.
Good to know because it's also hard to like order a fragrance online without smelling it, you know? You don't know if you're gonna like it.
Yeah, totally. Dead Cool is another brand that I've heard good things about. Um, but I haven't used it as much. So yeah, I would definitely recommend Sniff.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Now, I know another way you mentioned like detoxing the body, and a easy way is exercising and sweating. And so I'm curious, like, what are some of your favorite workouts in the city?
Yeah. I love infrared heated classes.
Mm,
I kind of think of it like it's a two for one. You get the movement and you get the sweat. And the way that the
yeah.
infrared heated ones work, it really kind of heats you up from the inside, just like an infrared sauna would. So I do love Fuse House.
Okay, I literally just tried them on Sunday for the first time after getting off a plane. It was the best.
Yep. Yeah. I honestly feel so much energy and even like mental clarity after I do the heated classes in particular. Also, practice room is really good. They're
Okay.
also heated. They're both super hot. Remedy is great just for sauna. I don't think they have workout classes, but they have a
Mm,
great like sauna cold plunge setup.
mm,
So yeah, I love Fuse, practice room, Lion's Den for heated yoga. It's really kind of like power yoga.
mm.
They're great. And then I love Pilates, like reformer, that type of thing. I've
Yeah.
been into Jet Set lately
Okay.
and running. Going
Yeah.
out to, yeah, either the West Side Highway or I'm kind of near Central Park, so I love to go out there.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, those are some of the foundational things, along with like the home and detoxifying your home. Just, I think, in terms of health, as you know very well, it's fundamental to be moving your body
I couldn't
for sure.
agree more.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Like if you're taking a million supplements, but you're not like exercising and getting good movement and lifting, doing some lifting. Like for me, going to those sculpt classes or Pilates is what I'm counting as weightlifting right
Hmm.
now. And anyone that does them knows you do get some significant,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, yeah. I was in a class yesterday at Fuse House where there were actually a lot more men than I've normally seen.
Oh,
And
wow.
I doubt any of them will ever listen to this, but if they like, I just got to give them props because they were dying, like
Yeah.
dying in the sections where we were using, like the 2 pound weights and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But, the girls were all like used to these workouts, but they're really hard and you do really sculpt and build muscle tone. I mean, again, all of this, but
Yeah.
that's a lot of my, it is important to keep up your muscles and be building muscle all the time. It's important for your mitochondria, your longevity, all of that. So,
Yeah. And you think like 2 pounds, no big deal. And then 8 minutes later, when your arms are still up, you're like, oh my gosh, my arm's going to fall off.
hardest thing in the world. Yeah.
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 Amazing. Well, Meg, I love this conversation about all things health, but really we like dug into toxicity, which I love. And I think you're helping so many people figure out where they can like make changes to clean up their lifestyle, but that it doesn't have to be overnight or so dramatic. Just like starting to make like one cleaner, healthier choice, and then that will compound on itself, and you will just see and feel like so many benefits in your body. So thank you for sharing all of that. I've got a couple of wellnessy rapid fire questions to send us off.
Great.
All right. Morning or evening workout?
Morning.
Running or walking?
Running.
Lifting or body weight?
Ooh. Oh, I want to say both. I love classes where you get to do a little bit of both, like
Yeah.
Pilates.
Yeah, it's so good. Juice or smoothie?
Smoothie.
Mm,
Smoothie. I like to get a little protein in there and I like to keep all the fiber in.
yes, same.
I'm actually not a big juice person at all. I like smoothies. Yeah.
Yeah. Coffee or matcha?
Coffee. I've never given it up. I love it.
I love both, so I think there's room for both. It's fine.
Yeah, sure.
Salad or bowl?
Ooh, bowl. Yeah, bowl. I like to get a little more protein in there and some wild rice, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pizza or pasta?
pasta.
Tacos or quesadilla?
Ooh, if I can do a gluten-free, dairy-free quesadilla, I do make those at home a lot. I would say quesadilla.
Yeah. What brands do you use?
I love Siete for the
Yeah.
tortillas, and then I love Violife for
Hmm.
cheese. Like their Mexican cheese is really good.
Yeah.
I
And actually melts too, which is great.
actually smells like, yeah. I
Yeah.
have it. I feed it to my dairy eating family members, and they're like totally fine with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And last one, early riser or night owl?
I am a night owl. I'm kind of also an early riser, but I'm definitely a night owl, which is a little tricky. I love nighttime. Like whenever
Yeah.
it's kind of my favorite time. So,
That where the creative juices are flowing.
yep, yep.
Well, Meg, for everyone listening along, if they want to follow you on social, if they want to work with you, tell us how they can do that.
Yeah, please do. On Instagram, I'm at Meg Crockett Health. I have tons of free resources in my link in bio, all these products and things, recommendations, non-toxic stuff. It's all up there. And TikTok, Meg Crockett. And if you want to reach out and ask about doing some health coaching, my email is in my Instagram bio, and that's probably the easiest place to start. You can just shoot me an email.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Meg. I just so enjoyed our conversation today and really appreciate your time.
Of course, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Health by Haven podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to give the show a 5-star rating and leave a review. It makes such a huge difference in reaching new people and spreading the joy of healthy living. I would also be so appreciative if you subscribe to the show in the listening app of your choice so you never miss an episode. Your support truly means the world to me. Have a happy, healthy day, and I'll talk to you again soon.